months in and still ain't got no title. I always say, well, my thing, like I said, this is my opinion. I say 3 months. Somebody starts getting the feelings start growing a little more on one side, and somebody's going to start trying to figure out what's going on. You can have fun and talk casually and things for about 3 months. And once you spend about 3 months with somebody on a regular basis, after a while, you're going to start wondering, what are we? Months in, it still ain't got no title. They're avoiding future conversations. You feel emotionally committed, but there's nothing acknowledged at all. As far as you feel like you're making love, and then right after, it's almost like you're back friends again. You act like y'all together, but you don't call it being together, and you don't know where you stand, and you're feeling anxious all the time about that. If you got to wonder where you stand, you're probably sitting down. What's happening? So we back at it again with episode 2. So we texting every day, we going on dates, but you still introduces me as your friend. So yeah, I think we need to talk. We up in another episode. We do have a name change. We know we were ear hustling, but we're now going to be Irapy. So Irapy Therapy, Irapy Podcast. Just want to let you know that change. I went to when I was loading the first episode, went on podcast on Spotify, and there was a lot of ear hustling names. Decided to change the name up a little bit. Like we did on episode 1, we talked about what's real love like today. We went over some things like consistency versus chemistry and things like that. Got a lot of good feedback from that. Sparked a lot of good questions. Most of the time, people were saying the overall census would be need a little bit of both. Everybody believed you need a little bit of both for that to play out and in your favor. So today we're going to be talking about the talking stage, though. The space between we just met and what are we? Are we able to get clarity, or are we just getting played? So we're going to go over things like that as far as what would be the signs of somebody who's serious about you and the signs of somebody who's playing with you. So the key points that we're going to go over today is going to be casual and get to know you, period. Should it involve consistent communication, honesty, intentions being shared generally, healthy and unhealthy talking dynamics in the talking stage. So the talking stage is supposed to be like what we say, like an interview. I would say it's not the job, but it's an interview. You should be getting to know the person, getting to know some of their goals, what they generally like, how they are, and kind of start putting that together as far as could you see yourself spending your life or time with them, I guess you would say. So I guess you would say a couple of things that make you feel like you're stuck in a situationship would be like you're months in and still ain't got no title. I always say, well, my thing, like I said, this is my opinion. I say 3 months. Right at 3 months, somebody starts getting the feelings start growing a little more on one side, and somebody's going to start trying to figure out what's going on. You can have fun and talk casually and things for about 3 months. And once you spend about 3 months with somebody on a regular basis, after a while, you're going to start wondering, what are we? So you months in and still ain't got no title. They're avoiding future conversations. You feel emotionally committed, but there's nothing acknowledged at all. As far as you feel like you're making love, and then right after, it's almost like you're back friends again. You act like y'all together, but you don't call it being together, and you don't know where you stand, and you're feeling anxious all the time about that. If you got to wonder where you stand, you're probably sitting down. So most of the time, if somebody really likes you, they're going to let it be known. As far as they're not going to be able to play with the feelings and things like that. They're going to start letting you know how they feel about them, whether it's in words and acts of affection, physical touch. You know, the 5 love languages. They're going to start. Those are going to start showing if they really, really think it's something. So when to make it official and when to walk away. When you make it official, you both openly communicate intentions. You show consistent actions, not just vibes, and there's mutual effort on one side, but not just one side of energy. So, like I always say, find somebody that pours into you. One person you can't pour into the other person because somebody's going to be empty. So, if you find somebody that cares about you, you do things that out of your way to show care about them, and they do things out their way to show care about you, then you might be building on to something. I always say love is caring for somebody more, if caring for somebody the same amount, if not more, than you actually care for yourself. So when you start putting yourself to the side to care for them, yeah, I believe some feelings are starting to be involved. um, so clear as tea should not feel complicated. Most definitely not. You should not have to wonder if they like you or not. Like I said, go ahead and ask the question. It shouldn't. A question shouldn't be offensive, and if it is offensive, and they're get all riled up about a simple question as far as like what are we or what are we going to be, where do you see us, things like that. If you start asking questions like that, and they start getting defensive and things like that, it is a red flag. You don't ignore the red flags. You don't ignore the red flags. I understand the person may be who you want them to be. They seem like who they want you to be, but if you're seeing the red flags, don't just ignore them. I'm not saying completely cut them off. Well, I'm an Aries. I don't get into all that, you know what I'm saying? But as I've been told, I'm an Aries, so I don't really just tolerate too much. Like, once a couple of things happen, I distance myself and I would emotionally cut myself off. And what they say, my nonchalantness starts showing. But that's just coming from my upbringing and things like that. So I most definitely will. Do men take longer to avoid committing? I wouldn't say we take longer. It's just that men don't do well with hurt. As much as how tough that we seem and things like that, we do not do well with hurt at all. Heartbreak, we take that a little to the heart, very hard. You know what I'm saying? Guys don't really, and it's really just a pride thing, which all boils down to respect. Once a guy feels disrespected, it's hard to come back from that. He's gonna distance himself from where he feels disrespected. Like he may stand up to try to get his respect after he feels disrespected, but if he constantly is getting disrespected, he's most definitely gonna pull himself away from that. And do women assume sooner that commitment is coming? I would say no, but they're the first that's going to say it out loud or start showing signs of it. A guy can kind of hide it. Most of us can kind of hide it, and we will hide it. You know what I'm saying? Until she kind of shows us signs that she's on the same page. You don't want to be embarrassed and things like that. So I guess you would say a woman will she's gonna come out and say it faster than the guy. So what are we? You know what I'm saying? Women most definitely gonna come out and say it. Does social pressure shape how fast people define things? I would say yeah, especially if you're publicly showing the talking stage, like dates. You're taking pictures on just the dates y'all going, may go on a trip or something. You posting pictures like that, and after a while, people keep seeing those pictures, but they're not seeing any posts about my man, or my girl, my woman, and things like that. But y'all steady posting page. That social media will start putting the pressure and make people, like I said in the first episode, start putting ideas in their head that don't particularly pertain to them. And once people start seeing that, like I said, the seed will grow and start becoming their truth and have start creating pressure on, I guess you would say. Men and women both can drag out the talking stage. The reason is usually comfort and convenience. Like I said, guy's not going to really express his feelings where he doesn't really feel comfortable. I guess to say a woman is too, but the convenience of that, she doesn't want to mess that up or whatever she's got going. She doesn't want to mess it up, which y'all got going, as you say. She doesn't want to mess that up. So she's most definitely going to speak out and see what the direction is going forward. Oh, so I guess you could say the talking stage is more a stage where, like I said, it's an interview and not an interview and not the actual job. That's what I meant to say. I lost my train of thought. But it's an interview and not the actual job. Take the talking stage to get to know somebody, really getting to know them. And like I said in the first episode, it doesn't have to be financially hard for you to get to know somebody. Take walks in the park, make little ham sandwiches and things like that, and take you a picnic, things like that. I wouldn't say movies would be a good date as far as getting to know somebody. I'm saying once y'all are settled and y'all know things about each other, and now comes the quality time. The movies is more better like that, but something where you can like sit and talk Like I said, I don't know if you drink. I don't really drink coffee, but I know people sit down and drink coffee, so that would be a good one. Something that doesn't really require too much, as far as eating, being able to stop you from talking or spitting food while you're talking. So something like a drink, or like I said, go catch. The park is always a good place. Go to the beach. Go sit on a bench and just talk. Get to know each other. Ask the questions that you want to know, not just saying what you think they want to hear. I guess you would say. Those are things that have set up a good foundation in the talking stage. So, so I guess you would say, what would be, how long is too long for the talking stage? I know I gave my opinion. I say about 3 months, um, 3 to 6 months. I guess you would say 3 to 6 months. Like I said, that's my opinion. I wouldn't say y'all have to like exclusively start dating in that after 3 to 6 months, but it should be some conversation about the future intentions after about 3 to 6 months. Because, like I said, you spent time. A lot of time has been put towards. I don't know how much effort is put in. Hopefully, effort has been put towards getting to know each other in that time frame too. So, say about 3 to 6 months, up to a year should be a good enough time to basically get the basics of who that person is, to where you can decide if that's somebody you want to spend time, a lot of time, possibly the rest of your life with. So mine's going to be like, I guess you say 3 to 6 months up to a year would be my answer to how long is too long in the talking stage. And as far as red flags in the talking stage, it would be inconsistent, just inconsistent conversations. They're telling you one thing, then a couple of weeks or a couple of days, or a couple of weeks later, a whole nother thing is coming up. Predict you in their beliefs, I guess you would say, things that they say they will not do or they do, and then later on they're switching it completely. I would say inconsistencies in that. I would say inconsistency, period, in any type of texting, calling, and things like that are most definitely one of my biggest red flags. Where I feel like, because I'm not saying you have to talk to somebody every day. Now you don't have to talk to somebody every 2 to 3 days, but to go, I say more than a week or two without speaking to somebody would be an inconsistency for me. That's more of a red flag. I understand people have a life, and some people have a lot of things that they're doing in life. Like myself, I have a lot of things that I do, but I do hate this saying, but I do know the truth in it as well. People make time for what they want, or which I can say that nobody can make time. You know what I'm saying? There's time, you know what I'm saying, that you have, and you can do the best that you can within it. But I understand what they're saying as well, as far as rearranging your schedule to fit that person into it. You know what I'm saying? So, because I do understand, I do a lot of things. But if my daughter needs something out of nowhere, I'm most definitely gonna make time to get to what she needs and things like this. I would say people will make time for what they care for. So if you're not seeing that effort, that's another red flag as well. Inconsistency as well, I guess you would say. Another thing would be my bad. Another thing would be keeping a good flow. I always say keeping a good flow. Remember what the person tells you. Actively listen when the person is telling you, when they do open up to you, and you can tell this is something that they are opening up to. Actively listen. Be able to bring it back or refer it to something. Let them know that, yeah, I am listening, and it is something that has been on my mind. That's a good thing to do as well. I guess you could say, what they got, tips in the talking stage. I would say separate yourself, because in talking, I people may be talking to multiple people. Not saying that they're having relations with multiple people, but conversation while you're single, you could be doing that with multiple people. And I would always say, set yourself apart. Don't as women say, don't what you doing. Don't WYD what you doing her to death all the time. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you're saying that every time, find you some random questions to ask. Just any type of question. It's a game that got called Black Love. That it's a real good game as far as finding out about your partner. Uh, that's a real good game. And just ask different questions that get to know them personally, get to know their goals, get to know, I guess, their past, their beliefs, things like that, things that are going to matter as far as over the test of time. Well, those are good things to most definitely ask. Set yourself apart. If you, like I said, you get to what you want to doing too much, start asking those type of questions. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be something that offends them. If they are thinking about spending more time with you, they will open up to you about that. Another is during the talking stage, show your qualities. You know what I'm saying? If you're a creative guy, do creative things. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to buy the bouquet of money and go to and Ruth Chris and things like that. Those are nice things to do. Not saying that you don't. That's not something you want to do, don't want to do, but those are nice things to do. But don't be the cliche, I guess you would say. Do some if you're a creative guy. Do some creative things, man. Create her something. It's the thought that counts. The thought counts a whole lot more than money. I would say money can be used in a thought, but the thought of it is valued way more than the money that was probably spent on it. Things like that. Well, let's see. So the main message today, talking stage shouldn't be a forever state. That would be the main message here. If you're talking to somebody, like I said, over a year, and there's no sign of what we are as far as separating just casually carrying into a potential life partner, you should be able to feel that vibe or that mood or change within that time period. I say within about 3 to 6 months in that time period, somewhere up in there, it at least should be mentioned as far as what are your plans for the future, especially when you're getting to know each other. It should be mentioned. So, what do you think we could be? You know, that's a good question to ask as well. What do you think we could be at? How do you see us in about 5 years? Could you see us together, and what would you see us doing? And how you think that would go? That's a good question to ask as well. Like I said, I didn't really get any DMs, but if you want, you can DM me. I'm going to post on YouTube. It's going to be on Spotify. You can leave it in the comments on Spotify and put it on Facebook as well. You can DM me on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can DM me on Instagram. It might. I might be able to fit a little bit on TikTok, but I don't know how much I would be able to fit on TikTok. So I don't know if I'll be able to put it on there. So I guess you would say, send me the DMs. You can have something like we talked for 7 months and he told me we were just friends after he met my mom. You know, things like that is the things I want to hear and things like that. Like we were talking forever, but when he come out to, he just said I was his friend, but we laid up every night. You know what I'm saying? Those things like those type of things. I just want to hear the relation as far as, and you can also give me DMs about green flags that you got. Uh, I knew that she was the one when she did this. You know what I'm saying? We had a conversation one time, and I never forget that she told me this, or he did this gesture to me, and I knew then that he was the one. I don't want to hear about all those talking stage type moments that would give our listeners more in depth about red flags and green flags and things like this. So you're not just left in the talking stage. So, I appreciate everybody for listening. This is episode 2. I want to say next episode, that will be episode 3. It's going to be the title of that one is going to be, one second. Title of episode 3 is going to be The Art of Arguing Without Breaking Each Other Down. Get to the part where you may have a disagreement, you may have an argument, maybe something you don't agree on. We're going to try to break down how to relay your feelings and your thoughts without tearing the other person down. That's a big thing to me as well, as far as I'm not going to argue with you. You know what I'm saying? I will most definitely talk with you, communicate, debate with you, but I'm not a guy that's just going to thing that I do. If we need to calm down, take a little space, we can do that. And then when we come back later, we can speak and talk about what just happened and how it made you feel and how we can do better to not make you feel that way, or the actions that I do find a better way or completely kill that as well. But that's going to be something I most definitely would love talking about. I will have a special guest. I call it Shay T, you know what I'm saying? Some people call it Shay, Tierra, you know what I'm saying? All that. She got the double names. Some people know as Shay, some people know as Tierra. She will be with me on episode 3 as we talk about the art of arguing without breaking each other down. I believe she has come a long way with that as well, because she most definitely has a mouth on her that will break somebody down. So, but I believe she has gotten better with that as she has went through life and learned lessons and things like that. Same as me, I can be very, because you say assholeless when I get to feeling some type of way, and my nonchalantness turns on, and I start getting a certain way, and I guess you could say that could break somebody down or make them feel like they can't say nothing without me lashing out in that type of way. Not really lashing out, but the nonchalant version of lashing out, getting quiet and not speaking and things like that right there. So that's gonna be a great topic to be on. So I hope you all tune in next week for me and Shay as we go over that. Like I said, send me the DMs. Let me know what y'all thinking about the show and everything. And if y'all have any topics, you let me know. We can touch base on them as well. But episode 3 is going to be the art of arguing without breaking each other down. So appreciate y'all for listening. And we will catch y'all next time, man. Been a great show. Been a great show. Great show. So see y'all next time, man. I'm Matt. Get up with me.